Then I want to show you a couple of things that you will be applying on the motion match exploration activity, but I don't expect you to be experts at it. And what's going to happen, just prepare yourself for this, what's going to happen is some of you are going to see what I do, and you're going to be like, got it, and you really will, got it. Some of you are going to see what I do, and you're going to be like, sort of got, maybe, I think I got it, but you won't. You'll need a little bit of help and a little bit of practice. For some of you, this is going to be, it's not going to click. And so be prepared. It's okay if it doesn't click. What we're going to do is we'll do these iterations. So I'll show you today, and you'll have some time to play around with it, and things will start to gel, and then we'll look at it again a couple of times next week. And by the end of the week next week, everyone will have had lots of opportunity to think about this, to practice it, to ask questions and get help, and then we'll have a check-in at the end of the week, and because at that point, what I'll tell you is this should make sense now, and you should be able to do these things. So this is going to be pretty common in this class. It's going to take some of you a few tries to get this stuff. There's lots of little steps, and it's abstract. So what happens is those of you who just have a brain that thinks in abstractions already, you're gonna find it comes together pretty quickly. Those of us who are more concrete, it's gonna be like, okay, I can do these steps, but I don't understand what's going on or why, and therefore it's harder to remember. So you'll see all that, and I just don't want you to panic. Quick announcements. Number one, if you have a Chromebook, you can keep doing that. If you have a Chromebook out, go ahead and close it. You can use it later. And then phones, as of today, if I see it, I'm going to take it. I have these little plastic bags. I'll just have you put it in a plastic bag with your name on it. Give it to you at the end of class. I don't anticipate things going beyond that ever, so I'm not even going to talk about what happens if it continues to be a problem, because I don't think it is. And then if you have a personal laptop or Chromebook, I'm going to ask that you only use the school-issued Chromebooks in this class. So if you don't have yours, or if it's not charged, there's a charger back there behind Emily, and I have loaners, so we've got enough for everybody to use a Chromebook, and that'll be the general expectation and requirement. The other quick announcement is that tomorrow I will post the course syllabus, and I'm going to ask you all to look through that with parents or guardians at home, make sure you understand it all, and then I'm going to ask for acknowledgement. So there's two ways you can do that. You can sign and return the actual course syllabus, or you can just bring me a piece of paper that clearly says I've read and agreed to the course syllabus, and you can hand that to me. And either way is fine, so you don't have to have a printer to make it work. And this will be a posted assignment on Canvas, so you'll see it. And then today I'm going to talk about the last three things that are of a special importance to you all. Okay, any questions about that? All right, let's move right on to actual stuff. So this is going to be quick. I think most of this stuff that I talk about today is going to be very straightforward. And mostly what I am looking to do, as I've said before, is avoid, for the love of everything, is avoid, let's try that. Oh, look at that. Avoid unpleasant surprises. I just want you to know what the deal is going to be, and I think that for the most part, this stuff is going to be super intuitive. So the first thing is, if you are expecting, or even if you're not expecting, but it happens, if there's some sort of an extended absence, or if you're frequently absent, come and talk with me. We'll probably need to talk with counselors and parents and guardians. What I want to do is just have a plan. What worries me about frequent absences or extended absences is that no matter how flexible I am, and I can be pretty flexible, the problem is you still have to show me that you know what I'm asking you to know and that you can do what I'm asking you to do. So where these absences become a problem is when somebody isn't here, but they still want an A. And I'm going to tell you that it's possible. You might never come to class and still get an A. So I'm not going to say that I won't allow it to happen. It's not going to be up to me. But I will say this. Most of the time, if people are missing roughly a third or more of class, whether it's in one chunk or whether it's spread out throughout a semester, you don't get an A. Most people who do this don't get a B either. If you're not here, the chances are you're not going to learn what you need to learn. And it's not going to be because I'm penalizing you, and it's not going to be because I won't work with you. It's going to be because you're not here. And this is a hands-on class. So just be aware. If you're taking this class in a way that sort of amounts to being online, then when I evaluate your skills, you might not know what you're doing. It's kind of like if you are trying to get your driver's license and you decide that you're not going to do the driving practice, you're just going to read the manual. You might get really good at knowing the rules, but then you get behind the wheel of a car and you don't know what you're doing. You still don't know how to drive. And that's all I'm going to say about that. If you would like more clarification, let me know. If you're here, for the most part, every day, it's just not even going to apply to you. And it'll only be something to worry about if you have these frequent absences. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is reassessment. So I mentioned some of this the other day, but I want to be crystal clear that if you want to do a reassessment, first of all, it's limited to 80% of the possible points. And in order to qualify for a reassessment, you have to have gotten all of the formative work, and that includes those employability skills. You have to get all of that work done before the original assessment. And to be really clear, the reason for this is because I believe, will earn a reassessment if you've done all the things you needed to do prior to the original assessment. If you didn't do those things prior to the original assessment, then you don't get a reassessment, you don't get a second chance. So just be aware of that. I'm gonna hold you to that expectation. In the absence of a formal written agreement, you gotta do the reassessment within 1 week of seeing your grade. So if it takes me a week to grade something, then you have another week beyond that to do the reassessment. But again, this is partially for you, it's also partially for me. I do not want to be scoring the first test that I give you in January. If you don't make it up, if you don't do your reassessment relatively quickly, then you'll lose your shot at it. So just make sure that you stay on top of that. If I am concerned that it might be possible for you to do a written assessment and get all the answers right, but you might still not really know what you're doing or know how to do it, then the reassessments might look different from the original exam. I might ask you to do something, I might ask you to come up with a plan, and I may ask you to demonstrate your skill one-on-one. So for example, if we're solving problems, and you take a test and you don't get the problems right, and then you want to do a reassessment, I may ask you to come in outside of class and sit with me, and we'll work through the problems together so that I can see what's going on, I can see where the hang-up is. It might look really different if we do a written test where there's some multiple choice questions and some, like problems to solve, and you don't do well. I may ask you to make a video instead, and I may ask you to walk me through one problem and explain what you did, or I may ask you to come in and demonstrate something with actual physical materials. So just be aware, it may be that I just give you the same exam and say, take it again, go. You can earn up to 80%, or it may be that I say, come in outside of class, we'll come up with a plan. I know what I want to see, And I'll give you an opportunity to demonstrate that for 80% of the possible points, but it might not be the exact same original exam or format, okay? And then the last thing is that I am going to, I'm going to just give you the very briefest of explanations from this. I have an issue because I'm kind of a pushover, and many of you who've worked with me before know this. If I like you, which I do, I'm going to like all of you, then I'm going to want to say yes to everything you ask. Can I take the test in May? Yes, you can take the test in May, even though the original test was in October. Can I redo this? Can I have extra credit? Can I have more time? Can I do this? Can I do that? I'm going to want to say yes to all of those things. And I'm not going to this year. I'm going to say, here's a form. You fill it out. You talk to your folks about it. If they're okay with it, then I'll go talk to an administrator and or your counselor. And if they're okay with it, then fine. I'm not going to approve any exceptions. I'm going to ask somebody else to do it. Because then I'm not responsible if things backfire. And that's where the problems happen, is when things backfire. If I give you the exceptions that you're asking for, and you end up not learning but getting an A, or learning a bunch but not getting a good grade, or you end up upset with me, or your folks end up upset with me because of the exceptions that I've been giving you, then it doesn't play out well for anyone. So I'm just going to shift that. It's not going to be on my plate. I'm going to have somebody else make those exceptions, and you can ask, but I'm not going to be the one to say yes or no. So I have a form. I've actually made it, and I'm going to print it out, and I will fill out an example and post it on Canvas so you'll see what it should look like if it's filled out properly. It's not super complicated. It's just a one-pager. It basically says what is the general policy that you're asking for an exception for. So that might be like, I want an exception to the late work thing, or the 80% thing, or the no rounded grades thing, or whatever. And then there's a spot for you to kind of detail the circumstances. You know, I had a family emergency, and I was out of the state for 2 weeks, and I feel like I didn't have a chance to really study the material and learn it before we took the exam, and so I'd like to be able to retake it but not be limited to 80%. And then there's places for everybody to sign, and if everybody signs it, we'll go with it, and it's not going to be any problem for me. I just want to make sure that instead of my sort of weak spined always saying yes, I want to make sure that somebody objective is reviewing your requests for exceptions, so that they can, because they may say no, and if it's in your best interest for them to say no, then I want that to happen, but I'm not good at it. So I'm going to ask somebody else to play that role. All right, that is it. There is more stuff in the course syllabus, which will be posted tomorrow, and you should look at the course syllabus, because you're going to be expected to know all this stuff on there, but this is the stuff that's usually, like, if I don't explain it, this is the stuff that usually people are like, wait a second, we can only retake up to 80%? Or, wait, you didn't tell us that we have to turn all this stuff in. So I've told you all. If you missed some of the days that we talked about these expectations, they're all on video, and they're posted to the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch to your heart's content. This presentation will be posted to Canvas. The course syllabus will be posted to Canvas, and if you have any questions, I want you to reach out to me. I'm super happy to talk to you about this more individually, but I'm not going to talk about it more in class. All right, any questions on that? Okay. All right, I'm going to